The shocking declaration. The Galactic Council convened in the largest chamber of the stellar Concordia, a space station orbiting a dying red star. This was no ordinary meeting. Representatives from over 100 advanced civilizations sat in silence, their expressions grim. A holo display flickered in the center, showing images of a small blue and green planet, Earth. "The time has come," declared High Chancellor Varnack, his voice steady but tense. His 4 eyes scanned the assembly, gauging the reactions of his peers. "The evidence is undeniable. Earth, a Class 3 planet in the Milky Way, is far more dangerous than we ever imagined. It is a death world." A collective murmur swept through the council. Death worlds were rare, planets so hostile that survival was nearly impossible. Yet humans not only thrived on Earth, but had become its apex predators. Councillor Thrix, a tall insectoid being with iridescent wings, stepped forward. "High Chancellor, we've studied this species for centuries. Humans are unpredictable, violent, and resourceful. They've survived plagues, wars, and environmental disasters. They adapt faster than any species we've encountered." The holo display shifted, showing Earth's history in rapid flashes. Nuclear explosions, towering mushroom clouds, and cities reduced to rubble. Yet, after every catastrophe, humans rebuilt. The screen then displayed a list of Earth's accomplishments: space exploration, advanced technology, and their capacity for creativity and innovation. Councillor Morvac, a reptilian being with emerald scales, hissed in disapproval. "They're too dangerous. Their history is filled with war. Their weapons can destroy entire planets. If we do nothing, they will soon take to the stars, bringing their chaos with them." "But they haven't attacked us," countered Councillor Luma, a serene being surrounded by a glowing aura. "Perhaps they seek peace, not war." Chancellor Varnack raised a hand to silence the debate. "Peace? Look at their history. They turn on their own kind for power. Do you truly believe they won't see us as enemies?" A sudden hush fell over the chamber as the holo display shifted again. This time, it showed footage of a human in a spacecraft. The pilot's determined expression was unmistakable as they ventured beyond their planet's atmosphere. The recording was from decades ago, yet it was clear proof that humans were already reaching out to the stars. "Do not mistake their curiosity for innocence," Varnack warned. "They are like a wildfire, beautiful to watch but impossible to control once it spreads." Councillor Thrix nodded. "Their military capabilities are growing. Their technology, though primitive compared to ours, evolves at an alarming rate. Given enough time, they could surpass even the most advanced civilizations." The room grew tense. Many councillors exchanged uneasy glances, their antennae, tails, or other appendages twitching nervously. The threat of Earth was no longer theoretical. It was real and looming. High Chancellor Varnack's voice cut through the silence. "I propose a preemptive strike. We cannot allow this death world to endanger the galaxy. Their warlike tendencies must be contained before it is too late." The proposal sent a wave of shock through the assembly. Preemptive strikes were rare and often condemned as barbaric. Yet the fear of Earth's potential seemed to outweigh the moral dilemma. Luma's voice rose above the murmurs. "And what if we're wrong? What if this action unites them against us? They are known for rallying together in the face of a common enemy. We may create the very threat we seek to avoid." "Enough," Varnack snapped, his patience wearing thin. "The Council will vote. Either we act now, or we wait and risk annihilation." The room fell silent as a glowing orb materialized above each councillor's seat. A green light meant support for the invasion. Red meant opposition. Slowly, one by one, the orbs began to glow. Green dominated the chamber. The decision was made. Earth would face the wrath of the Galactic Council. As the meeting adjourned, the councillors filed out, leaving the chamber eerily quiet. Varnack stood alone, staring at the image of Earth on the holo display. "Forgive us," he muttered, though his voice lacked conviction. "It's for the greater good." In the depths of space, fleets of alien warships began to stir, their engines roaring to life. The invasion of Earth was no longer a question of if. It was now a matter of when. Little did the Galactic Council know, their actions would awaken humanity's most dangerous trait, its unyielding will to survive. Earth reacts. Deep beneath the mountains of Colorado, in a top-secret bunker known only as Blackstone, Earth's brightest minds gathered in a state of controlled panic. Satellite feeds had intercepted strange energy signatures at the edge of the solar system. Signals, alien signals, were broadcasting in patterns too precise to be natural. Dr. Eliza Munro, the director of Earth's newly established interstellar defense program, stood before a massive screen displaying a map of the solar system. Glowing red dots, each representing an approaching alien vessel, crept closer to Earth. Her voice was calm, but her piercing gaze betrayed the tension she felt. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, addressing a room filled with military leaders, scientists, and world diplomats. "We're no longer alone, and they're not coming to say hello." The room erupted into chaos. Some argued for diplomacy, others for immediate retaliation, but one voice cut through the noise. A young analyst named Marco Vasquez. "We need to understand their intent," he said, standing up and pointing to the signal analysis on his tablet. "They're communicating in bursts of coded language, almost like a warning." The room fell silent. A warning. Was this an attempt to intimidate or a chance to avoid conflict? Dr. Monroe leaned in, studying the data. "Decipher it," she ordered. "We need to know exactly what we're dealing with." Meanwhile, on the surface, strange phenomena began to occur. In cities across the globe, power grids flickered as alien surveillance drones zipped through the skies, their sleek, silver forms barely visible. People filmed them on their phones, posting videos that quickly went viral. #alien invasion trended within hours. The general public had no idea how dire the situation was. Governments tried to suppress the truth, labeling the sightings as hoaxes or experimental aircraft. But the truth couldn't stay hidden for long. In a small town in rural Texas, a farmer named Hank Johnson became an unlikely hero when one of the alien drones crashed into his field. Curious and unafraid, Hank approached the strange device. It emitted a low hum, its surface smooth and cold. When he touched it, the drone activated, projecting a holographic message into the air. The alien figure in the projection was unmistakably threatening. Its towering form loomed over Hank, with sharp features and glowing, unblinking eyes. Its message, though in an unknown language, needed no translation. It pointed to Earth's sky and then clenched its massive fist, mimicking destruction. Hank's video of the encounter spread like wildfire, confirming humanity's worst fears. The aliens were coming, and they weren't friendly. Back at Blackstone, Dr. Monroe and her team finally cracked the code. The intercepted signals translated into a chilling message. "You have been classified as a death world. Surrender or face annihilation." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Monroe's second-in-command, General Marcus Graves, slammed his fist on the table. "Surrender. Over my dead body." Monroe turned to him, her voice steady. "That might just happen if we don't act wisely. They're more advanced than we can imagine. We don't know their weaknesses or their full capabilities." But General Graves wasn't one to back down. "They think we're weak. That's their first mistake. Let's make sure it's their last." Monroe replied, her tone sharp. She turned to Marco. "What else do we know about them?" Marco hesitated. "Not much. Their ships use energy signatures we've never seen before. They've also synchronized their approach with Earth's orbital patterns. That means they've been studying us for a while." "How long?" Monroe asked. Marco took a deep breath. "Centuries, maybe longer. They know us better than we know ourselves." The weight of his words settled over the room. Humanity had always prided itself on resilience, but now they were up against a force that had anticipated their every move. The Galactic Council's invasion wasn't a rash decision. It was a meticulously planned operation. Monroe's mind raced. She knew Earth couldn't rely on brute force alone. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't its weapons or technology. It was its unpredictability. "We need a plan," she said, her voice resolute. "If they think we're a death world, let's show them why." Across the globe, preparations began in secret. Military bases went into lockdown, and hidden weapons projects were accelerated. But it wasn't just the military gearing up for battle. Scientists worked around the clock to develop countermeasures. Hackers sought ways to infiltrate alien systems, and ordinary citizens, like Hank Johnson, armed themselves with whatever they could find. As the alien fleet drew closer, strange atmospheric phenomena began to occur. The skies turned shades of purple and green, and the auroras, visible even in regions where they were rare, stretched across the heavens like a warning from nature itself. Humanity stood on the brink of its greatest challenge. But in the heart of every human, from the soldiers preparing for battle to the scientists unlocking new discoveries, one thought burned bright: we will survive. In the silence of space, the alien fleet slowed its approach, their warships casting long shadows over Earth's fragile blue surface. The Galactic Council believed they had cornered a wild beast. Little did they know, the beast was ready to bite back. The invasion begins. In the cold, vast expanse of space, the alien fleet approached Earth with ominous precision. Hundreds of sleek warships, each the size of a small city, glided silently, their metallic hulls gleaming under the light of the sun. From orbit, the planet looked peaceful, serene even. But the Galactic Council knew better. This was no ordinary world. Earth was a death world, and its apex predators, humans, were more dangerous than any other species in the galaxy. On board the lead ship, Dominion of Order, Fleet Commander Zinar watched the blue planet through the viewing deck. His 6 limbs rested on the console, his angular face unreadable. "Begin Phase 1, he ordered. His voice was calm, yet his compound eyes reflected unease. Zinar had studied Earth for years, and though he outwardly dismissed the planet as primitive, he couldn't shake the feeling that something was different about this mission. The first strike came without warning. High-energy projectiles rained down from the alien ships, targeting Earth's communication hubs, power grids, and military bases. In mere moments, entire cities went dark, their residents left in a state of shock and fear. The Galactic Council had hoped for a swift and decisive victory, expecting the humans to panic and surrender. But Earth didn't panic. It retaliated. In Washington, D.C., General Marcus Graves stood in the war room, surrounded by a flurry of activity. "Status report," he barked, his voice cutting through the chaos. "Initial targets hit, sir," an officer replied. "But our secondary systems are holding. We've activated the blackout protocols. The satellites they've destroyed were decoys." Graves smirked. "Good. Let them think they've crippled us." Earth's defenses had been preparing for this moment for years. Hidden beneath the surface were secret military installations and underground cities, shielded from alien surveillance. What the Galactic Council didn't know was that humanity had been watching them too. At Blackstone, Dr. Eliza Monroe monitored the situation. On her screen, streams of data poured in from Earth's remaining satellites. "They've underestimated us," she muttered. "Classic mistake." Beside her, Marco Vasquez analyzed the alien ships. Their fleets moving in formation. "But look here." He zoomed in on one of the vessels. "They have a blind spot near their energy cores. If we can target that." Monroe nodded. "We'll need to get close, but it's a start. What about their communication network?" "I'm working on it," Marco replied. "If I can hack their system, we might be able to disrupt their chain of command." Monroe turned to him, her expression sharp. "Do it. And Marco, don't get caught." As Earth's forces mobilized, the skies became a battlefield. Fighter jets scrambled to intercept the alien drones, their sleek forms weaving through the chaos. Above them, The alien warships unleashed waves of smaller crafts, their energy weapons carving through the air. Cities burned, but humanity didn't falter. In Tokyo, a team of engineers activated a prototype energy shield, enveloping the city in a shimmering dome of light. The alien weapons struck it relentlessly, but the shield held. In Moscow, an old nuclear bunker was repurposed as a command center, coordinating resistance efforts across Europe. And in Texas, Hank Johnson and a group of civilians took down an alien drone with nothing but farm tools and determination. On the Dominion of Order, Fleet Commander Zinar watched the battle unfold with growing frustration. "How are they resisting us?" he demanded. "Their technology is centuries behind ours." An officer approached him, bowing slightly. "Commander, the humans are adapting faster than anticipated. They're using tactics we didn't predict." Zinar's mandibles clicked in irritation. "They're supposed to be disorganized and primitive. How are they countering our fleet?" "Permission to speak freely, sir," the officer asked hesitantly. "Granted. Humans are different," the officer said, choosing his words carefully. "They thrive under pressure. It's almost as if adversity strengthens them." Zinar's gaze returned to Earth. The planet looked deceptively fragile, but its inhabitants were proving to be anything but. He couldn't help but feel a grudging respect for their resilience. "Begin Phase 2, he ordered. "Deploy ground forces. Let's see how they handle direct confrontation." On the ground, the invasion escalated. Massive alien drop pods rained from the sky, crashing into forests, deserts, and cities. From these pods emerged the Galactic Council's elite ground troops, towering, armored warriors armed with advanced weaponry. Their arrival was met with fierce resistance. In the streets of London, human soldiers and civilians fought side by side, using everything from firearms to improvised explosives. In the Amazon rainforest, guerrilla fighters used the dense terrain to ambush alien patrols. And in the mountains of Afghanistan, a team of elite snipers picked off alien commanders with deadly precision. Back at Blackstone, Monroe's team finally made a breakthrough. "I've got access to their communication network," Marco announced. "We can intercept their orders." Monroe leaned over his shoulder. "Good work. Can you disrupt their signals?" Marco hesitated. "Not yet, but I can send a message back." Monroe's eyes narrowed. "What kind of message?" Marco grinned. "One they won't forget." Minutes later, every alien ship received a transmission. It was a recording of Earth's history, humans fighting against overwhelming odds, overcoming natural disasters, and standing united in the face of extinction. The message ended with a simple phrase: "We are Earth, and we do not surrender." The Galactic Council had expected an easy victory. What they encountered instead was a planet that refused to bow, a species that thrived on defiance. As the invasion continued, one thing became clear: humanity wasn't just fighting to survive, it was fighting to win. Humanity's secret weapon. The battlefield stretched from the skies to the oceans, from the deserts to the cities, but the Galactic Council still underestimated Earth's greatest strength, its ingenuity. Hidden deep in a decommissioned naval base off the coast of Alaska was a facility known only as Project Sentinel. It was humanity's best-kept secret. In a dimly lit control room, rows of engineers and scientists worked feverishly around a single glowing console. At its center was an advanced artificial intelligence, unlike anything ever created on Earth. Dubbed Sentinel, it was designed not just to defend Earth, but to learn and adapt faster than any human or alien ever could. Dr. Eliza Munro, now at the helm of Project Sentinel, stared at the console as the AI's interface activated. A cold, mechanical voice filled the room. "Connection established. Objective: neutralize external threat." "Sentinel," Monroe said, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "We're under attack by an advanced alien species. They compromised our systems, and their weapons are far superior to ours. Can you help us turn the tide?" The AI paused, processing the data streaming in from satellites, drones, and intercepted alien signals. Assessment: alien forces have a 72% probability of overwhelming human defenses within 48 hours. Countermeasure protocols initiated. Before Monroe could ask what it meant, Sentinel's interface lit up. Across the globe, dormant satellites reactivated, recalibrating their signals. Civilian drones suddenly shifted their flight patterns, converging on alien positions. Even Earth's outdated military equipment began to behave unpredictably, as if guided by an invisible hand. On the front lines, soldiers and civilians alike began noticing strange phenomena. In New York City, a group of alien soldiers cornered a squad of human defenders. Before the aliens could attack, the streetlights above them flickered, then erupted in a shower of sparks. A fleet of hacked delivery drones swooped in, crashing into the aliens and detonating small explosives. In the Pacific Ocean, an alien warship targeted a human naval fleet. But as it fired its energy cannons, its systems went haywire. Sentinel had infiltrated the ship's network, reversing its targeting protocols. The warship turned its weapons on itself, erupting in a massive explosion. In underground bunkers, intercepted alien transmissions played on screens. Sentinel was translating their language in real time, exposing their strategies and weaknesses. For the first time, humanity wasn't just reacting, it was predicting the invaders' moves. Back on the Dominion of Order, Fleet Commander Zinar slammed his claws on the console. "What is happening?" he roared. "How are they countering our technology?" An officer hesitated before responding. "Commander, their systems have become coordinated. It's as if an unseen force is controlling their defenses. Our ships and drones are being hijacked." Zinar's mandibles twitched in frustration. "Impossible. Their technology is primitive." The officer looked uneasy. "Perhaps not as primitive as we believed." At Blackstone, Marco Vasquez watched in awe as Sentinel's influence spread. "This thing is a game changer," he muttered. "It's like it's 10 steps ahead of them." Monroe didn't share his enthusiasm. "Sentinel is our last resort," she said. "It's powerful, but it's untested in live combat. If it makes a mistake or gets compromised, we're finished." Just then, a warning alarm blared across the room. Sentinel's interface displayed a new message. "Alert! Alien flagship deploying planetary disruptor. Countermeasures required immediately." "What's a planetary disruptor?" Marco asked, his face pale. "It's exactly what it sounds like," Monroe replied grimly. "They're going to destabilize the planet itself. If that thing activates, Earth will be uninhabitable." As Sentinel worked to find a solution, the situation on the ground grew dire. Alien reinforcements poured in, their forces targeting key human strongholds. The skies darkened as massive alien drones blocked out the sun, casting long, ominous shadows over Earth's cities. In the heart of London, a small resistance group received unexpected assistance. Their outdated weapons suddenly became far more effective, targeting weak points in alien armor they hadn't known existed. When a civilian asked how they knew where to aim, the resistance leader simply pointed to the sky. "We've got help from above." At Sentinel's command center, Monroe made a decision. "Sentinel, can you disable the disruptor before it activates?" The AI's voice responded instantly. "Probability of success, 58%. Countermeasure deployment will require direct interaction with alien flagship systems." Monroe turned to her team. "You heard it. Get me a crew and a ship. We're going up there." "Wait," Marco said, stepping forward. "You can't go yourself. It's suicide." Monroe's expression hardened. "If Sentinel fails, Earth is done. I'm not sitting here waiting for that to happen." As Monroe and her team prepared for the most dangerous mission of their lives, Sentinel continued its relentless assault on the alien fleet. More ships fell under its control, their weapons turned against their own forces. The Galactic Council had believed Earth was a primitive world, incapable of standing against their might. But they hadn't accounted for one thing: humanity's ability to turn desperation into innovation. With the planet's fate hanging in the balance, Monroe's team launched into space, aiming for the heart of the alien fleet. If Sentinel's plan worked, they could stop the disruptor and turn the tide of the invasion. If it failed, Earth would become the galaxy's newest wasteland. For the first time in history, humanity was no longer fighting alone. It had a secret weapon. And it wasn't just Sentinel. It was their collective will to survive. The turning point. The human ship, Resolute, hurtled toward the alien flagship under the cloak of Sentinel's digital interference. Inside, Dr. Eliza Monroe and her hand-picked team of engineers, soldiers, and Marco Vasquez sat strapped into their seats. The ship shook violently as it weaved through a barrage of alien defenses, Sentinel guiding its every move. "Stay sharp, people," Monroe said, gripping the armrest tightly. "We only get one shot at this." Marco glanced at the console, where Sentinel's interface flickered. "Sentinel, how long until they detect us?" The AI's cold voice responded, detection probability increasing. Current estimate, 47%. Accelerating countermeasures. Marco swallowed hard. He wasn't a soldier, but he knew enough to realize their odds were grim. On board the alien flagship, Dominion of Order, Fleet Commander Zinar was facing his own crisis. The planetary disruptor, a device capable of destabilizing Earth's tectonic plates, was almost fully operational. Yet his fleet was crumbling. Ships malfunctioned, drones turned against their own, and ground forces faced relentless resistance. "Commander," an officer reported, "we've identified the source of the interference. It's an advanced AI within their systems." Zinar's mandibles clicked furiously. "An AI? On that backward planet?" "Yes, Commander," the officer replied nervously. "It's adapting faster than our algorithms can counter. It's even learning from our technology." Zinar's gaze darkened. He turned to his weapons specialist. "Activate the purge protocol. Wipe every compromised system, and locate that AI. I want it destroyed." As the Resolute approached the alien flagship, Monroe's team prepared for the impossible, infiltrating a vessel designed to withstand attacks from entire fleets. Sentinel provided a layout of the ship, marking critical systems and the location of the disruptor's core. The ship docked in a damaged section of the flagship, its hull still smoking from a previous skirmish. Monroe led the team inside, her pulse steady despite the chaos around them. The interior was a labyrinth of corridors bathed in eerie green light. Alien symbols and pulsating conduits lined the walls. "Move fast and stay quiet," Monroe whispered. "Sentinel, guide us to the disruptor." Pathway uploaded to team devices. The AI responded. "Caution. Hostile units detected within proximity." Marco checked his communicator. "Hostile units. How many?" 17, Sentinel replied. "And closing." "Great," Marco muttered. 17. No problem. The team pressed forward, moving through the ship's twisting corridors. Sentinel disrupted security systems as they advanced, opening doors and rerouting patrols. But the deeper they went, the stronger the alien resistance became. In a cavernous chamber at the heart of the flagship, the disruptor loomed. It was a massive, crystalline structure, glowing with an otherworldly energy that pulsed like a heartbeat. Alien engineers worked frantically to bring it online, unaware of the humans closing in. Monroe studied the scene from a concealed vantage point. "Sentinel, how much time do we have?" The AI's response was grim. "Disruptor activation in 12 minutes. Suggest immediate action." Monroe turned to her team. "All right, here's the plan. Marco, you and the engineers set up the charges around the core. Soldiers, you provide cover. Sentinel will keep their systems distracted, but we're going to face heavy resistance. No mistakes." As the team moved into position, Monroe couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The aliens were too focused on the disruptor, almost as if they were expecting interference. Her suspicions were confirmed when a deep, resonant voice echoed through the chamber. "Humans, you've come farther than expected." From the shadows emerged a towering alien figure, Fleet Commander Zinar. His 4 arms were armed with energy blades, and his expression was one of cold contempt. "You think you can stop us?" Zinar said, his voice dripping with disdain. "You're clever, but you've underestimated the Galactic Council. Your world will burn." Monroe stepped forward, her weapon raised. "If you're so certain, why not just press the button? Or are you afraid of a primitive species like us?" Zinar snarled, his mandibles flaring. "I am not afraid. I simply wish to understand what drives such fragile beings to fight against the inevitable." Monroe didn't hesitate. "It's called survival." The chamber erupted into chaos as the humans launched their attack. Marco and the engineers raced to plant charges around the disruptor while the soldiers engaged Zinar and his elite guards. Sentinel's interference continued to disrupt the flagship's systems, but the alien forces were relentless. Zinar moved like a whirlwind, his energy blades carving through the air. Despite his size, he was fast, too fast. Monroe barely managed to dodge a strike, the blade slicing through the air inches from her face. "Sentinel," she shouted, "we need backup." The AI's voice crackled through her communicator. "Deploying countermeasures. Please hold position." As if on cue, the ship's lights flickered, and several of the alien guards suddenly froze, their weapons turning against their own. Sentinel had hacked their neural implants, giving the humans a critical advantage. Marco planted the final charge on the disruptor's core, sweat pouring down his face. "It's done," he yelled. "Now let's get out of here." Monroe signaled to the team. "Fall back. Sentinel, trigger the charges on my mark." "Understood," the AI replied. As the humans retreated, Zinar roared in fury, his eyes blazing with rage. "You will not escape. Your world will fall." Monroe glanced back at him, her expression steely. "Not today." They reached the docking bay just as the charges detonated. The disruptor's core erupted in a blinding flash of light, sending shockwaves through the flagship. Explosions ripped through the vessel, forcing the humans to launch their ship in a desperate bid for survival. Back on Earth, the skies lit up as the alien flagship faltered. Sentinel's voice echoed across the comms. "Disruptor neutralized. Enemy forces in disarray. Humanity retains a 62% probability of survival." For the first time since the invasion began, there was hope. Humanity had struck a decisive blow, proving that even in the face of overwhelming odds, it would never bow to fear. But as the team returned to Earth, Monroe couldn't shake the feeling that the battle was far from over. The Galactic Council wouldn't retreat easily, and the fight for Earth was just beginning. Earth's stand. The alien flagship, Dominion of Order, drifted in orbit, its sleek hull marred by explosions and fractures. Smoke billowed from the disruptor chamber, and sparks flew from damaged conduits as fires raged across its decks. For the first time, the Galactic Council's mighty war machine had been crippled by a species they deemed inferior. On Earth, celebrations broke out as humanity's resistance forces learned of the victory. Cities that had been on the brink of collapse erupted with cheers, their battered defenders raising makeshift flags in defiance. But in the war rooms and hidden command centers, the mood was far from celebratory. Dr. Eliza Monroe stood before a global communications panel, addressing Earth's leaders via a secure connection. Her face was drawn, her voice steady but heavy with urgency. "The disruptor is destroyed, but the fleet isn't gone. They're regrouping. This is no time to rest." General Marcus Graves, patched in from a hidden bunker in Europe, nodded grimly. "We need to hit them before they hit us again. What's our status on offensive capabilities?" Monroe hesitated. "Our nuclear arsenal is intact, but the alien fleet's energy shields make conventional attacks almost useless. Sentinel's doing what it can to weaken their systems, but it's a race against time." From the shadows, Marco Vasquez stepped forward, clutching a tablet. "There might be another way," he said. "While we were on the flagship, Sentinel gathered more than just tactical data. It downloaded schematics of their energy shields." The room fell silent. Monroe's eyes narrowed. "Are you saying we can break through?" Marco nodded. "If we can replicate their technology and integrate it with our weapons, we might stand a chance." Meanwhile, in the wreckage of the alien flagship, Fleet Commander Zinar paced the command deck, his mandibles twitching with rage. Reports of the humans' victory flooded in, each one a bitter reminder of his failure. The disruptor was gone, and the Galactic Council's plan to subdue Earth had unraveled. An officer approached cautiously. "Commander, reinforcements from the outer sectors are 3 days away. Until then, our forces are vulnerable." Zinar turned, his compound eyes glinting with anger. "Vulnerable? You dare call this fleet vulnerable?" The officer hesitated. "The humans are resourceful. If they strike again—" "They will strike again," Zinar interrupted, his voice cold. "And when they do, we will be ready. Begin the activation of the Eclipse Protocol." The officer's eyes widened. "But Commander, the protocol is not a request," Zinar snapped. "If humanity refuses to bow, we will ensure their extinction." Back on Earth, Monroe's team worked tirelessly to integrate the stolen alien schematics into their weapon systems. Sentinel, now fully operational, acted as both guide and guardian, analyzing alien data with precision. In a hidden laboratory in Siberia, engineers built a prototype weapon, a modified railgun capable of bypassing the alien energy shields. Nicknamed Thunderstrike, the weapon was humanity's last hope for an offensive strike. General Graves arrived to oversee the final tests. "How soon can this thing be ready?" he asked, his gruff voice echoing in the cavernous lab. Monroe glanced at the weapon, its sleek frame glowing faintly with alien-derived energy. "It's ready now. The question is whether we are." As humanity prepared for a counterattack, strange phenomena began occurring worldwide. The skies darkened unnaturally, and a massive shadow stretched across the Earth. Sentinel identified the source almost immediately, an alien superweapon in orbit, cloaked by advanced technology. "Commander Zinar's Eclipse Protocol," Sentinel announced. "Weapon classified as a planetary sterilizer. Activation imminent." Panic rippled through the global network. The alien fleet wasn't regrouping to defend. They were preparing to annihilate the planet. Monroe realized there was no time for caution. Earth had to act now. The Thunderstrike weapon was mounted onto a hastily retrofitted spacecraft, the Avenger, piloted by a crew of Earth's best. Monroe and Marco joined the mission, along with General Graves, who insisted on being part of humanity's final stand. The ship launched under the cover of night, its engines roaring as it pierced the atmosphere. Inside the Avenger, Sentinel's voice guided the crew. "Primary target located. Suggest direct assault on the planetary sterilizer's power core." Monroe nodded. "We've got one shot at this. Sentinel, keep their systems disrupted as long as you can." As the Avenger approached the sterilizer, the alien fleet moved to intercept. Hundreds of alien ships swarmed the human vessel, their energy weapons lighting up the void of space. Sentinel worked tirelessly to hack the alien systems, causing several ships to veer off course or fire on their own. The Avenger reached the sterilizer, its towering structure glowing with malevolent energy. Marco's hands trembled as he operated the targeting system. "We're in position," he said, firing Thunderstrike in 3, 2, 1. The railgun fired, releasing a beam of concentrated energy that struck the sterilizer's core. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the core erupted in a blinding explosion, sending shockwaves rippling through space. Alien ships were caught in the blast, their shields unable to withstand the sheer force. The Avenger barely escaped the explosion, its crew cheering as the sterilizer was destroyed. Humanity had not only survived, but delivered a devastating blow to the Galactic Council. On the Dominion of Order, Zinar watched in stunned silence as his fleet crumbled. For the first time in his career, he felt something alien to him. Fear. He turned to his officers, his voice a low growl. "This isn't over." But deep down, He knew that humanity was unlike any enemy the Galactic Council had ever faced. They were chaotic, unpredictable, and unrelenting. And they were far from defeated. As the Avenger returned to Earth, Monroe looked out at the stars, a sense of grim determination in her eyes. "They'll come back," she said softly, "and we'll be ready." The fight wasn't over, but for now, Earth had made its stand, and it had won. Humanity's victory and a new era. The alien fleet retreated in disarray, their once unassailable dominance shattered by a small planet they had deemed primitive. Earth's defenders watched in awe as the enemy ships disappeared beyond the solar system, their glowing trails fading into the darkness of space. On the Avenger, Dr. Eliza Monroe leaned back in her chair, exhaustion finally catching up with her. The crew erupted into cheers, but she remained quiet, staring at the stars. "We've won this battle," she murmured, "but this isn't the end." General Marcus Graves, standing nearby, clapped her on the shoulder. "Then we'll win the next one too. And the one after that." The aftermath. Back on Earth, the planet was a mix of relief and devastation. Cities lay in ruins, entire regions bore the scars of alien bombardment, and millions mourned the lives lost. Yet amidst the rubble, hope thrived. Humanity had faced an enemy far beyond its understanding and survived. For the first time in history, nations stood united, bound by the shared struggle against annihilation. In New York City, a group of volunteers painted a massive mural on the side of a damaged skyscraper. It depicted a human hand holding Earth, with the words, "We endure, we unite, we rise." Similar messages of resilience appeared in cities worldwide, a testament to humanity's indomitable spirit. The Galactic Council in turmoil. Far across the galaxy, in the heart of the stellar Concordia, the Galactic Council was in disarray. Fleet Commander Zinar stood before the assembly, his once imposing presence diminished by failure. The councilors' voices echoed through the chamber, a cacophony of blame and fear. "You said Earth was a death world," a councilor shouted, slamming their appendage on the table. "You assured us they would fall easily." "They were supposed to," Zinar snapped, his mandibles twitching. "Their technology is primitive, their civilization divided. They shouldn't have stood a chance." Another counselor, glowing faintly with bioluminescence, leaned forward. "And yet they did. Not only did they resist, but they outmaneuvered us. They've proven to be more dangerous than we ever imagined." The room fell silent as the weight of those words sank in. The council had made a grave mistake. Earth wasn't just a death world. It was a rising power that could challenge the galaxy itself. Earth prepares for the future. In a newly constructed United Earth Command Center, leaders from across the globe gathered to discuss the next steps. The room buzzed with energy, a mix of determination and urgency. Sentinel's holographic interface floated above the central table, its cold voice cutting through the discussion. Galactic Council reinforcements estimated to arrive within one standard solar year. Recommend immediate preparation of planetary and interstellar defenses. General Graves slammed his fist on the table. "We're not waiting for them to strike again. We need to take the fight to them." Monroe shook her head. "We're not ready for that. Sentinel's data gives us an advantage, but we need time to rebuild, to innovate. If we rush into another fight, we'll lose." The debate raged on, but one thing was clear. Humanity could no longer remain isolated. They were now part of a larger galactic stage, and their survival depended on more than just defense. It required alliances, exploration, and a deeper understanding of the cosmos. The first alliance. Weeks after the battle, an unexpected visitor arrived in Earth's orbit. A small, unarmed alien vessel broadcast a peaceful message. The pilot was a member of a species that had been subjugated by the Galactic Council for centuries. Inspired by humanity's defiance, they sought refuge and offered intelligence about the Council's weaknesses. Monroe and her team met the alien envoy, a fragile yet determined creature named Kale. "Your victory has shaken the galaxy," Kale said, their voice translated through Sentinel. Many believe you are the only ones who can stand against the Council's tyranny. If you rise, others will follow. Kel's words planted a seed in Monroe's mind. Perhaps Earth's future wasn't just about survival. It was about liberation. The galaxy was vast, filled with countless species living under the shadow of the Council. Humanity's fight might just be the spark that ignited a revolution. A new dawn. As Earth rebuilt, its people began to look beyond their planet with new eyes. Spaceports rose from the ruins. Ships were designed not just for defense, but for exploration, and humanity's first interstellar alliance was forged with Kel's people. Marco Vasquez, now a key figure in Earth's technological advancements, stood with Monroe on the deck of the first Earth-built starship capable of faster-than-light travel. The ship's name was fitting: Unity. "Think they'll come back for us?" Marco asked, watching the stars through the observation window. Monroe nodded. "They will. But next time, we won't just be ready, we'll be waiting." As the Unity launched into the unknown, carrying humanity's hope and determination, the message was clear. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a force to be reckoned with. The Galactic Council had tried to destroy humanity, but instead they had created their greatest challenger. And in the dark corners of the galaxy, whispers began to spread. Whispers of a world that defied extinction. A world that stood united. A death world that had become a beacon of life. Humanity's story was just beginning. And the galaxy would never be the same.